The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon and hello everyone. My name is Jeanette Matthews and I'll be your moderator for today's event. On behalf of Kaltura, I'd like to invite you all, to thank you all for attending this webinar, 10 Best Practices for Building an Education Video Strategy at Your Institution. Before we actually begin our presentation, I'd just like to let you all know we will be sending out a follow-up email relating to this presentation with information supporting what you're going to learn about today. Today's webinar features our speakers, Michael Zur, our President and CMO of Kaltura, based in our New York office, together with Jeff Newman, our Education Specialist for Europe, based in our London office. Just a quick reminder, if you should have questions at all during the presentation, you can submit them online using the question tab located on your screen. You simply click and type your question in the dialog box, and you can submit at any time. We'll be taking questions at the end with time permitting. So at this point, I'd like to turn over to our first presenter, Michael.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. Video is being widely used across many industries, and depending on your industry, and specifically today we're focusing on the education vertical, there are different best practices for implementing a video strategy. Obviously, the cases and the way you actually want to use video determine the optimal strategy for deploying video in your institution. So today we're going to be focusing on education. I'll give a brief intro about Kaltura and then pass to Jeff in order to actually walk you through the 10 best practices that we've assembled through our work with many other institutions. A few words about Kaltura. Kaltura provides an online media management platform to different industries. We provide solutions for media companies, that's studios, broadcasters, actually manage the entire workflow from broadcast to online and distribution of their content using Kaltura. We work with enterprise customers, allowing them to provide knowledge sharing and collaboration solutions within the enterprise, as well as marketing and product marketing solutions using public-facing video on their websites. And finally, we work with education institutions, mostly focusing on teaching and learning solutions using video, as well as marketing, admissions, public affairs, alumni relations, using video as a better messaging tool on websites. Next slide, please. Thinking specifically of our education practice, and Kaltura has several hundred educational institutions using Kaltura. Nowadays, video is a very important tool, both to empower students and professors, to create more knowledge and share that knowledge, not only in the context of teaching and learning, but also as part of community building on campus. And we found that generally using video is a very good tool for getting knowledge transferred in a more focused way. So we're many times asked, why video? Why video as a tool? Next slide, please. And we're the YouTube era nowadays. Next slide. Nowadays, if you think 6 years ago, when YouTube was a new thing for everyone, online video was questioned as a tool for education. Now, there isn't a question about that. Looking at the screen maintains focus. There are research that shows that material is retained much better by viewers watching the video, and using video for marketing and improving admissions and retaining students has proven itself as a successful strategy. There are many challenges to implementing video. Challenges relate mostly to the nature of video. Video requires significant bandwidth. Video has different types of metadata associated with it. So, compared to text or images that do not have a time aspect to them, video has different metadata associated with it, and therefore can also generate different types of analytics and statistics about who's watching and the duration that they're watching, and the focus and which content is of interest. And there are also challenges related to standards. It's very difficult for large companies, those who develop browsers and those that develop operating systems, to actually agree on standards for video codecs, including devices as well. So the challenges to supporting video as a format is also significant. So when considering all of these challenges of video, these are the things that typically affect the way you might want to go about deploying video. And then, of course, on top of the technological challenges, there are challenges associated with how you're thinking of using video. If you're thinking of using video in order to improve learning results, obviously you will consider how to integrate it into the flow of teaching and learning in order to actually impact the learning process. If you're thinking of using it in order to affect admissions, you'll consider what websites and what outlets to integrate video and what type of messaging and content to include there. If you're thinking of building a central repository on campus, again here, there are many factors to take into consideration. What content will go into that repository, and where will you get that content published later on? I'm passing on the speaking to Jeff, who will actually review what are those best practices that we've assembled together related to what's the best way and method to implement video as an educational institution. Jeff.
Great. Thank you, everybody. And thank you, Mahal, for the intro. So, again, today's goal of this webinar is to go through these 10 points, basically making a list of these 10 requirements, these considerations you should use, and effectively sharing what we've learned, the best practices from the hundreds of universities that we call customers and the thousands of universities we've engaged with over the years. So the first slide here, number 1, is to create a central media hub. And what we have here is 4 boxes. And what we've done is learned what are the basic use cases of online video, rich media, audio, and images at universities. And in the top left, you have teaching and learning. Top right, you have marketing, which can include PR, recruitment, the word alumni, which has to do with graduates from the university, as well as private campus communities, and also libraries and media repository archiving. And so universities have invested in lots of different vendors and lots of different technologies, and sometimes included hardware. So what you really need to understand is making sure you don't have a siloed approach, making sure that your technology purchases are open, there's flexible APIs, and also that term future-proof. Are they going to be compatible with future technologies and formats, as well as new vendors you're going to bring into the mix? And so again, Kaltura has looked at making a cross-campus media suite, something that pulls all these together, connects all the technology. The other consideration is the inputs and outputs of media on campus. So you have different formats of content, whether it's coming from lectures, whether it's faculty or student created, so user-generated content. And you also have digital repositories, whether they originated as discs, DVDs, audio, and images. Again, how do they all come together into the output methods? And so what we've learned with universities is the use cases demand integration into learning management systems or virtual learning environments. You have interest around using video and interacting with rich media on public websites, as well as YouTube, iTunes U, and user blogs and private communities. The second consideration is managing content and metadata effectively. So when looking into systems, understand what are the metadata fields that are out of the box, and is it flexible? Can you create your own metadata? based on your own schemes and your own goals around organizing and searching. And when looking at organizing all your content, how are you going to retrieve your content 5, 10 years from now? Is it going to be based on keywords? Are these keywords going to have thumbnails associated to it? Will it be intuitive and digital when recalling information? So again, it's a matter of organizing and categorizing your content, and again, keeping in mind the notion of future-proof and flexibility. That way you can create a strategy that works today with your existing legacy systems, again, meeting today's goals, and then again, not being obsolete in 5 to 10 years. Another consideration is searching for not just the content, but searching for pieces of content within your existing content. So the example here in this slide is looking for a keyword and finding the exact point in a video that that keyword was spoken. So if you have a transcript and that you use a metadata search, now you can pull up that keyword and all the video content at that exact point. So in-video search is becoming very important. The third consideration is reaching anyone, anywhere. So regardless of the device your end users choose, whether that's a mobile device, a tablet, Mac, or PC, it's important to make sure that the video streaming works on all of them. There shouldn't be a trade-off here. And so we always keep talking about this generation of students are on the go. They want to watch video on campus, they want to watch it at home. And a point I'd like to add is, faculty as well. Faculty want to watch their videos, grade their homework, do their job at home and on the go. So if you're purchasing something on behalf of a university, keep in mind your customer is not just the student, but it's also the faculty and staff. Everyone's expectations are to have video work on their connected device wherever they are, as long as they have an internet connection. And so whatever system you choose needs to have this in place. Another consideration when you look at the stakeholders involved is, what about students or faculty or any stakeholder with a learning disability? You need to make sure that you have players that you can design, as well as players that are compliant with any government standards. And as you can see here in an example, we have one out of the box in our system. But again, this is very important to keep in mind when you want to be inclusive. Make sure that your technology works for everyone involved. This fourth point is integrating into existing systems. And so this goes back to, what have you already invested in and where do you want to go, and just understanding the ecosystem of rich media on the internet. On the far left, you have a column for ingesting, and this includes hardware-based lecture capture systems, as well as remote learning meeting rooms. And then you have manage. So how do you encode and transcode, again, making all the formats compatible with today's changing landscape of hardware and software, closed captioning, as well as security and digital rights management. And then in the middle, you have distribution. CDN stands for Content Distribution Networks. And so simply put, those are companies that have server networks around the world, which means your video, which may be big and bulky, will stream smoothly globally wherever your student is or your faculty member is, without it buffering. And so it's an efficient server system around the world, and these are oftentimes bundled into solutions. And it's important. That's the difference between having a single server on campus, which can be quickly overrun with too many requests for the video, and having a system in place that can distribute and efficiently get video to the end user without buffering. To the right, you have publishing. So as you can see in teaching and learning, at least with universities and educational institutions, the virtual learning environment is the main place for private use and delivery of video. And so does your system integrate with the existing learning management systems on campus? And then the last piece is engaging. So in-browser editing and integration with PowerPoints, as well as social sharing if needed. So these are all the kind of requirements from left to right that incorporate a full ecosystem of rich media management. The fifth consideration is supporting security and governance. So here's a bunch of features or requirements that you should take a look at it and look at your policies. Is watermarking your videos important for branding? And What about distribution restrictions? Do you have videos and maybe licensing terms that require that the video only streams in the United Kingdom or the Netherlands? Or do you have students that you already know are remote and maybe they're in another country and you want to open it up for them as well, but block off others? And so this can be done at the player level as well as an account level if you have the right tools in place. Also, sharing videos, exposing the embed code and intending for them to be syndicated. Big question to ask is, do you want to limit how many websites and which websites that video can be published on? And the IP restriction is another interesting aspect of licensing. Do you want students to watch videos when on campus, but have those same students not be able to watch them at home for whatever reason that may be? There are tools out there that can do that, as well as control which session and restrict content playback to players. Another aspect is integration into single sign-on. Do you have a system in place where you want a private portal, and again, authenticating your users versus the general public? And you should have a flexible system that offers that. Then there's sharing restrictions. Again, this can be done at the player level. Do you want to expose embed codes and social features such as emailing and posting on Twitter and Facebook? Or would you like to lock these down and keep them private? And again, protecting videos can be done on many levels, including DRM controls. And so here are some screenshots to give some examples. This player here has a pop-up saying unauthorized country. And so that had a geo restriction, and the person trying to watch the video is in the wrong country, and therefore the press play button doesn't work and you have that pop-up. So effectively that video will not work, and that's the security in action. And you can see in the background there different control panels for different levels of security. Another aspect to consider is entitlements. So again, does the system you're looking into have an interface that's very straightforward and easy for an administrator to choose, pick and choose which aspects of entitlements for the video, who can access it, what elements are private, and so forth. And then here we have an interface for permissioning. So within the portal or the system where the video will be played, do you need to have certain members, maybe certain students or members of a group have access to videos, where with some of them being moderators and managers and others being just passive users and viewers? And so again, does your system give you levels of control of who can watch which videos and what within controlled walled gardens? Then the sixth point is pretty straightforward. It's very, I guess, an obvious point. Is the system you're using easy to use? Is a user interface intuitive? And this is actually a really big make or break or success criteria. Your faculty members may not be teaching multimedia. It should be regardless of their major or their expertise. Using video needs to be straightforward and intuitive, just as simple as creating a Word document or text. So again, are the tools that you're looking into intuitive and easy to use? Is uploading a video simple? Does it make sense? Is entering metadata around the video easy? Are certain things taken care of by the administrators in the back end, and are the rest of them taken care of by the end user? And so here you have a tab for webcam. Is it easy to author videos? And is it easy to pull videos when you're in a text document, such as this mashup tool screenshot in the bottom right? So again, the integration points and the ease of use for the end users are critical if you want faculty, professors, and students to adopt and use rich media effectively. Then the next point is for the administrators. So in the back end, is it easy for administrators to ingest content in the first place, bulk uploads, custom metadata pre-populated, transcoding settings, so you can again choose which formats you want to support? Are the, is the user interface intuitive and easy? And that's a big consideration to factor in. The seventh point is video authoring tools. So again, does your system offer you basic video authoring tools within the browser without having to download and license software for specific editing? And one of the points would be clipping and trimming. So you've uploaded a video. can you trim down the ends of it and replace the original video by doing that, as well as taking clips of it and without replacing the original video, and that way highlighting specific clips with specific metadata. And again, these are important tools for ease of use and focused messaging with video. Another aspect of video authoring tools would be creating screen captures within the systems you're using. If you're using a virtual learning environment or you're using a private portal, do you have the ability to have professors log in, grade papers while capturing the screen and explaining their grade, and with or without turning on their webcam, and having that all recorded as a part of using video-rich media in the grading process? I think in this day and age, students expect to use video in their homework assignments, whether that's capturing webcams and answering questions orally in addition to writing text and papers, as well as they expect to have a clear understanding of what their homework assignment was. So does the system offer things like screen capture recordings, as well as video chaptering and video presentations? The bottom here, you've got on the left-hand side, you've got a PowerPoint or a flat document, and then on the right you have a video, and here you can choose to sync them. So this can be a way to speak through a PowerPoint document and have a video synchronized to it, or just audio that goes and makes the PowerPoint skip at the right points. So again, now you're syncing rich media with flat files, and this can be very valuable for teaching and learning. And then the last aspect of this is social sharing. So this is an example of a player that has been designed with sharing in mind. So it's the opposite of the secure lockdown video that's just a press play. This one, you have a link that says share with friends, and this would be something where, given the ability of the end user to syndicate or push the video out to what you can see here, Facebook or Twitter or a WordPress or a blog. And so again, are you giving the end users the ability to interact with the rich media? The 8th point here is syndicating content, publishing and distributing. So again, just piggybacking off that last point, do you want to have your content not just in a virtual learning environment, or not just within a university portal or private websites that require logins? What about having your video searchable in Google and Yahoo? So having the metadata actually be retrieved with key search terms and have videos come up in the search results. What about having iTunes or iTunes U? And as well as the YouTube channel. A lot of universities do use YouTube, and it's very valuable for exposure. How about, do you have a system where you can have hosting and control with all the video content that you own first and foremost, and then choose which video from there is pushed out to YouTube, which of those videos are pushed out to iTunes that are obviously in the Apple compatible format. So these are things that you should have in place, where you have full control over your content on your platform first, and then from there, choose which subsets belong on other platforms and other channels, and make it very easy to set up MRSS feeds. The 9th point is analytics and metrics. So now that you've invested in all these systems and you have all this video content, how are you measuring this? And how do you measure the ROI, the return on investment of such a purchase? And so here you have a macro admin view, which is how much storage are you using, how much bandwidth, what are the peak times, and what are the trends in usage. And then you have granular level, course level information if you've tied into your virtual learning environment. So this is really interesting, where now it's not the administrators, it's the professors of a specific course to find out, okay, they've uploaded 5 videos to their course. How many students, how many people have watched these 5 videos? How effective is this lecture recording in their teaching and learning? Another point is which users are watching video and uploading video. Are the students enrolled in that course contributing? Are they watching the videos all the way through? Does this correlate with their grades and the learning outcomes? Is there an intervention point that needs to happen? And these questions and answers are really only derived through the analytics aspect of this. And then you have the media report itself. So again, how effective is each individual video? Who's watching it? How many times has it been watched? And are people watching all the way through? If there's a high drop-off rate, perhaps it needs a new thumbnail, perhaps a better description, or it should be clipped. These are the questions that can be answered based on looking at the metadata and the effectiveness of them. And the 10th point here is performance, scalability, and stability. So again, investing today and also looking towards the future, video files are getting larger and larger, higher quality, and the usage of video is exponential. That first stat in the very beginning with how many videos are being watched on YouTube, every time we want to use that, we have to double check that it hasn't grown exponentially, because this is mushrooming. Once you get a system in place that works easily on campus, it's going to take off, and that's a good thing. And so you have to keep in mind the notion of the size of the videos growing. Also, we're seeing a trend where long-form content is becoming more common. Long-form is one way of saying a video that's over, say, 5 minutes or 10. And also delivery. Again, we spoke about content delivery networks a while back, and it's important. The difference between having a single server on campus and having a global content delivery network that has the ability to cache and serve up copies in an efficient way. This will work both on campus as well as at home for students and teachers with minimal buffering. And again, volume. How do you account for spikes in activities? So the night before finals, or there's certain points in seasons where it can be predicted to a degree, but it's important to have a failover here and have a really powerful system in place. And so when we put this all together, we've created this checklist. So these are the considerations, the points you should think about when making a decision like this. When you create a central media hub, is it central? Does it tie to all the use cases and all the inputs and all the outputs? Again, is it truly central, or is it just a silo or just one slice of a pie that's not compatible with the other slices? Then the second point would be managing content and metadata effectively. The third, again, is reaching anyone, anywhere, and on any device. The fourth would be integrating into existing systems and flows, as well as future systems. So again, integrating into what you've invested in and thinking into the future so it's future-proof. Again, the next one would be supporting security and governance, whichever policies you have in place, whatever licenses you have, and also being sensitive to the country and the laws in your country as well. So that has to do with data hosting and delivery. These are important considerations to think about. The next being ease of use. Again, the adoption and the success really hinge on whether your stakeholders, your faculty and students can use it and will use it. The next is video authoring tools. This is important for not just uploading what's already been recorded, but creating a webcam, integrating a webcam into the virtual learning environment for video homework assignments, using screen capture for grading those video homework assignments or papers. The next being syndicating content. So you've got teaching and learning as a major use case in education, but you also have marketing. The other side of this is recruiting new students and staying in touch with the community and graduates. So how do you push video out to YouTube and iTunes U? Is it compatible, the system that you're looking into, with other existing portals? The next being analytics and metrics. How do you measure the success of both the system and the users within it? And the last but not least is performance, scalability, and stability. So does it work? Can it grow? And is it stable? And so I hope all of this has been helpful, and we will take questions.
Thank you, Jeff and Michael. We will move into Q&A right now. So A gentle reminder, please type your questions into the dialog box and we'll take those. We've got a few already waiting. Before I move into those, small reminder again that we will actually be following up with an email to you all with a recording of this webinar so that you can view it at your perusal, and if you have any questions you'll have Jeff's name so you can reach out and contact him further. Without further ado, just like to start off with a couple of questions. Can I ask Jeff, how long before an account can be up and running?
So on average, we see that happening in a few weeks. There's always variables, whether there's custom work and whether there's work on the client side as well for integration points. But on average, about 2 weeks, we can have a system up.
Great. Second question, do you tie into our LMS's authentication system, or do you offer your own?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we tie into the existing single sign-on. So with Blackboard, Moodle, Sakai, we're not offering our own authentication. We're tying into the existing structure of course structure and permissioning levels. So whether that's LDAP, Shibboleth, so forth, Active Directory, we tie into all of those.
Okay. Another question is, if we want our content to adhere to standards such as SCORM, how is that achieved?
Yeah, so I think we are compatible with that, and that's that's an aspect of being within the virtual learning environments as well. When answering that question, though, we'd want to get a little bit more context as far as what your goals are, and when you talk about exporting content. Again, a system for hosting rich media, ultimately everything's owned by you. So if it's a matter of being compliant and exporting and integrating other systems, we just need to take a quick look at what you're asking exactly, and we can answer that.
Thanks, Jeff. Next question. Is the system compatible with MS Active Directory, AD?
I believe so, yeah. And again, we can always confirm directly. So if you could give us your exact version number, and we can confirm that directly as well.
Okay. Do you have a technology that recognizes the words that have been spoken in a film in the metadata, or do you input the script with the words that have been spoken into your metadata?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's one of those bleeding edge technology initiatives. So we have partners. Anything that we don't do ourselves that's not in our direct roadmap, we leave to third-party partners. And you can see who our partners are on the Kaltura Exchange, which is off of our main website. And so the Exchange has things such as virtual learning environments and content management systems. So that's where we show our integration with Blackboard and SharePoint and Moodle. But also things like the in-browser editing. There are vendors out there that can do transcription for you. So you can give them files and they can transcribe it and translate it into as many languages as you're interested in. And then we also have some companies that we've been in touch with that are working on the auto transcription. And I don't think we have something working quite yet out of the box, and I don't know if it's in our system yet, but that's something that keeps being asked for. So again, if you can contact me directly, I can point you to some companies that are working on this project, and we can talk about our plans for proper integration in our roadmap.
Great, thank you, Jeff. Next question, do you plan to allow the upload of videos that are larger than 2 gig?
Yeah, well, we can do that today. So if you were to go to our Kaltura Management Console account, you can upload videos that are large. And if you have a video that's massive, there's ways for us to do Dropbox folders and FTP integration. And so there's workarounds at the platform level. I mean, some of Kaltura's customers are Hollywood studios with original versions of the videos. But in the widgets, let's say the pop-up widgets within applications, there is a 2 gigabyte limit, and the reason for that is more of an industry standard with transcoding and the success of making sure that when you do upload the video in that widget and it's transcoded on the fly to all those formats, that it's done successfully. So again, that's to say you can still get the video within the application. It just has to go through a different workflow. And again, very happy to show you how to do that on a one-off.
Okay. Next question. Do your VLE building blocks extensions go so far as allowing students to submit video for assignments? Is it Kaltura that maintain these extensions?
Yeah, so for example, our Blackboard building block, one of the features in it is a video assignment. And so when a student logs in to Blackboard, goes into the course, and as long as the professor's created a video assignment, then the student can respond by uploading a video from their desktop or provisioning a webcam recording or screen capture, again, the authoring of video, right in the interface. And once they've created that video and saved it in there, then they can submit it as a video assignment. So yes, Kaltura has created video assignment functionality for the integrations that we have for Blackboard, Moodle, Sakai, Desire to Learn. And yeah, that's Kaltura managing that. So it would be Kaltura hosting and delivering those videos. And those videos are integrated into the course environment and the grading so that there's the video analytics as well as the grading. So the correlations there as well. Which student, which video was it, how many, who watched it, and then again, the correlation of that student's grades.
Okay, thanks, Jeff. We're almost out of time, so I will just like to ask, some people have been asking if they want to have appointments with you, that they should take that offline, and we'll be in contact with everyone who's got additional questions we can't get to right now, so that we can answer them directly and respond via email. And also to let everyone know that we are sponsoring the BET Higher Education Summit next week in London. So we will be there, and we obviously attend quite a lot of events. If you wanted to come along and talk to us at any of those in the future, we'd be happy to let you know what they are. I've got time for one more quick question, if I can quickly fit that in. Jeff, are your systems capable of multi-user recording simultaneously? For example, recording 20 sources or more at once?
Well, I guess I need to understand the context of that question, but if you're saying if a customer has the Blackboard building block and 20 students are creating video assignments, webcams at the same time, yes, there's no limit there.
Okay.
And then one last point from me. I'm very happy to discuss one-on-one with anyone specific European examples of use cases, client examples and best practices with anyone who's interested. So do stay in touch, and the more focused your questions are, the more I can answer them. So I look forward to them, and thanks everyone for your time today.
Thank you, and I'd also like to thank Michael and Jeff for presenting. It's been a great webinar, and for everyone attending, you will get a follow-up email as a reminder again. We'll send you through the link to the recording and a link to our buyer's guide, which is a supportive material document that we speak about here during this webinar. And again, if you've got any questions, feel free to reach out and contact us, and we hope to see you on our next webinar. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.